Hello, everyone, and welcome to my first ever YouTube tech review. Not even a review, it's a discussion opinion about the new iPad mini, and it's also my first YouTube video on this channel. So, as I already mentioned in this video, the topic of this video is the iPad mini 7th generation. And what's so special about this iPad mini 7 is that not only was it a surprise release from Apple, because a lot of people, including myself, thought that they were going to be announced and released in November. But if you pre-order it today, which is October 15th, 2024, you can pick this iPad mini 7 up when it hits the stores on October 23rd. So think about it. That's a week and a half, less than 2 weeks. So in less than 2 weeks, if you pre-order from today or even tomorrow, you can pick it up and play with it in less than 2 weeks. So that's amazing. And well, I'm not only going to go over the specs because I'm pretty sure mostly everybody has heard about what this new iPad mini has, because there's been various YouTubers and various websites talking about it for months on end. So I'm not going to regurgitate what they already said, because Wikipedia also does a good job of that for me. The magic of technology, it does stuff so we humans don't have to. But today's video, I just want to basically talk about if you want to buy the iPad mini versus, or if you're thinking about upgrading from an older iPad mini such as a 5th generation or a 4th generation to an iPad mini 7, and if that's going to be a worthwhile upgrade. Now, in my opinion, there's only two main reasons why people should upgrade to the iPad mini that actually makes it worthwhile. The first worthwhile reason is that you basically get double the base storage and maximum storage compared to the iPad mini 6. So the iPad mini 6, you only had 64 gigabytes and 256 gigabytes. You were only limited to those two storage options. But now with the iPad mini 7, you have 3 storage options to choose from. Mainly you have 128 gigabytes, which is doubled from 64 gigabytes. You have 256 gigabytes at the maximum found in the iPad mini 6. And you also have double the 256. So you have the maximum in this new current iPad mini 7 as 112 gigabytes. So that's amazing that that's definitely a enticing feature right there to upgrade. The other enticing feature is that not only do you have the storage increases, but you also have a RAM increase too, from 4 gigabytes found in the iPad mini 6 to 8 gigabytes, which is really important because the iPhone 15 has 8 gigabytes of RAM, while the iPhone 15 Pro has 8 gigabytes of RAM. The regular iPhone 15 still has 6 gigabytes of RAM. So the iPhone 15 Pro has 8 gigabytes, the iPhone 16 has 8 gigabytes, and basically every new iPad Pro or iPad Air has 8 gigabytes. So that's amazing because not only will you be able to download the new Apple ported console games that were released to Apple in the future, and even currently, such as Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil 4, Death Stranding, Assassin's Creed Mirage. But, as I said, you'll be able to download the newer console games in the future because most likely every console game from this point on is going to be limited to the minimum of 8 gigabytes of RAM. Or at least every heavy duty console game. There are still console games that are still going to be limited to 4 gigabytes of RAM, but those are going to be far and few between. Mostly every other console game, you're going to need 8 gigabytes of RAM. But in terms of the apps are basically in the same category as the console games. There are some apps currently that you can still download for 4 gigabytes of RAM, but in the future, those apps are gonna, or at least those heavy-duty apps such as heavy editing apps or heavy canvassing apps found on the Apple ecosystem are gonna need 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum. But that's unfortunately the sad thing with tech. Like with every new generation of tech that's released, you're going to have different and newer RAM requirements. Like the RAM requirements of the old days, like a decade ago, aren't like sufficient anymore for downloading the new games and apps. And in terms of like the iPad mini 6th generation or previous iPads, I mean, you still can download some games and apps onto those that require those RAM configurations. But let's say in like 2 to 5 years, you're not going to really be able to download any more high-powered games or high-powered apps on like 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is unfortunate. So in the future, that's the other reason why you're gonna most likely have to upgrade to the iPad mini 7 is you're gonna have to keep everything relevant. And I mean, this whole thing about buying an iPad mini 7 is subjective because if you're okay with like your current level of apps and games that you have on an iPad mini 6 or iPad mini 5th generation, then you're not going to need an iPad mini 7th because you're already content with your apps and games. Why do you need a newer device if you're not going to like get any more newer games or apps? But yeah, but this upgrade is only, in my opinion, this upgrade is more so for people who just either don't have an iPad or just have a very, very older iPad that can't really download any console games or apps, and they're looking to upgrade. Like, if you have a iPad mini 4th generation, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to download a lot of hardly any games or apps on that because that doesn't even have 3 gigabytes, I don't think. I think the iPad mini 4th only has 2 gigabytes. So, yeah, that's just going to be my short little, I guess, tech comparison discussion video on the iPad mini 7th and if you should upgrade. I'm eventually gonna like get an iPad mini 7th to test out, but I'm not gonna get the iPad mini 7th right away. I'm gonna wait maybe a couple weeks after release to get the mini 7th. because, I mean, the good thing is that it costs the same as the previous iPad mini 6, which is $500. So hopefully it stays the same to where like it hasn't increased if you're trying to get the maximum storage either. But I will be testing out the iPad mini 7th against my iPad mini 5th generation, since I don't have an iPad mini 6, and then you all, as well as me, will be able to get to see real world performance, like how much of a difference the iPad mini 7 versus the iPad mini 5th generation is. So that will give you much more of a determinant if you should upgrade. But by all means, if you're okay with the level of apps and games you already have, then there's no need to upgrade. So anyway, look out for that video, and I guess subscribe if you want to be notified about that video. Even though I don't really like saying subscribe, because I feel like people are just naturally going to subscribe if they like your content. So I'm not going to tell people to subscribe because I kind of feel awkward telling them that. But anyway, leave a comment if you're thinking about upgrading to the iPad mini 7th, or if you're just okay with your older iPad. So that does it. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Oh, one more thing. So I am recording this video live, so if you're hearing me pause and stumble my words, then I can't do anything about that because I'm recording live, so apologies for that. Okay, now bye.